Hawaiian Electric. Good morning.
Chair Lee and the members of the committee, I'm Tayne Sekimura of the Hawaiian Electric Companies. Let me highlight some key points. We support House Bill 992. It authorizes the Department of Budget and Finance to sell up to a total of $800 million of revenue bonds over 5 years on behalf of the companies. The legislature on 9 previous occasions has authorized the sale of revenue bonds on behalf of our electric utilities. And I'd like to point out a few things about these bonds. The first is that these bonds are not the obligations of the state. They are obligations of the utilities, and we are responsible to make all payments. Secondly, the Public Utilities Commission oversees all aspects of the sale and the use of bonds. They approve the terms of the bonds, and they certify the projects that the money can be spent on. And then finally, depending on market conditions, these tax-exempt revenue bonds could be cheaper for customers than taxable debt. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up next, Robert Freitas Jr. in support. Shannon Rudolph in opposition. We have late testimony from Jamie Moana Kawauchi in opposition, Kerry Marks in opposition, Lance Duncan in opposition. And that's all the written testimony we have. Is there anyone else here to testify in this measure this morning? If not, are there any questions? Rep. Thielen.
If Hawaiian Electric, if you'd come back up again, please. Can you explain a little bit more, what is the purpose of this, and was the request made before the next era intent to purchase Hawaiian Electric?
So basically, what we do is when we go out for financing, we look at the markets, and there's various debt available, tax exempt, which are these special purpose revenue bonds, and also taxable debt. And our decision to come forward was made prior to that next era announcement coming out. We like to keep our options open to see what vehicle is most economical for our customers.
Okay, that kind of answers the question, but not. I mean, was this in the works before NextEra stepped forward to buy Hawaiian Electric, or was this something that came afterward? What was our timing on this? Well, and then what are you specifically looking at doing?
Okay, so first of all, we were planning to come forward with these revenue bonds prior to the NextEra transaction being announced on December 3rd. And
that's prior to the announcement, but the company knew about this before the announcement. So my question is, going back to that period of time when you came forward with this, were you already aware that NextEra wanted to purchase the company?
Yeah, so basically the board did approve the proceeding with the NextEra merger on December 3rd. That's when they voted, when the announcement came out. Prior to that, it was up in the air. But nonetheless, from a financing standpoint, we always look at what vehicles are available to the company. And with tax-exempt revenue bonds, we understand we need to come to the legislature for authorization. So that was in the works prior to the merger announcement.
Then when we go down into the wording, it's to cover the acquisition of land. Where is that?
Excuse me, what exactly you're referring
Where
to?
is the land? What land?
I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to. You're talking about the specific bill?
Right, on page 1 of the bill.
Yeah, that's just a general statement in terms of any types of purchases that we would need to make. For example, perhaps land for infrastructure like substations, those types of things. That's what it would cover.
Okay, what specific land acquisition is being discussed?
I don't know if there's anything specific to land other than perhaps some easements.
And then you're talking about construction or acquisition of facilities. Can you be more specific?
Yeah, the construction or acquisition of facilities would include things like things we're doing in our transformation efforts, looking at our smart grid technology, taking a look at, things like, asset management, investments in our infrastructure to support the grid modernization, those types of things.
Okay, and I don't believe there's any testimony in support from NextEra, which is a rather strange situation. So what is their position about this?
Basically, the financing that we would need, because Hawaiian, well, first of all, let me take a step back, because we need financing where, at this point, it's not clear if the transaction, the merger transaction, will be approved. That's number one. Meanwhile, we do need to come up with financing to support our infrastructure, even without NextEra. Assuming that the NextEra acquisition does get approved, Hawaiian Electric would be a standalone company, reporting up to NextEra. A standalone company, with assets and debt to support the financing of those assets.
The concern I have is that there is a limited amount of money that we can put under the SPRB program.
Mm-hmm.
So if a company that looks like it's not going to exist maybe within the coming year is coming in to tap some of that money, this means that another renewable energy company wouldn't have access to the money, and Hawaiian Electric would be gone. NextEra is kind of touting itself as having a lot of money and resources to come into town, and they aren't even coming in to testify in support of this and saying that they would need it. So it seems to me a kind of a strange situation, and thank you very much. Thanks, Chair.